Hi, this is Frankie Randazzo in the kitchen at Goodfellas today, sitting in for Shelly Vitanza with our operations manager, Mike Blewett, from Madison's and Goodfellas, and today we're going to prepare a nice New York strip steak.
I guess the most important thing is when preparing a steak is before you put it on the grill, you want to bring it up to room temperature. It definitely makes a huge difference on the juiciness of the steak, and we use rosemary infused olive oil. And what you'll do is just put a little bit of that olive oil on it, drizzle it over, you want to rub it in, treat your steak nice. And we're just going to season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. And we like to use kosher salt and coarse ground black pepper on our steak.
This is one of the basic marsala sauces that we prepare here at Goodfellas using fresh unsalted butters, wild mushrooms, creams. Basic variation that you can do on your house to get that restaurant quality meal is to maybe utilize something like some sun-dried tomatoes, mascarpone cheese, some fresh spinach, basil, some oregano or thyme, and prepare what we have at Goodfellas called a capone sauce that we usually top upon our 16-ounce ribeye or our filet, maybe substituting that mascarpone cheese with some goat cheese for a little bit of different flavor.
And today we're going to be using a dry marsala sauce. What you want to do is, what you'll see when I start to cook it, is heat the butter and the mushrooms first, and then you add the marsala when it's good and hot. Cook it down to about half. You want to reduce it down real good so it's kind of thick, and then you add your cream and your seasoning.
Today we're going to be going over to the grill and preparing these meats. Mike's going to give us a couple of other tricks and tips to prepare at your house to get that restaurant quality style food. So join us when we come back, and we're going to prepare this steak in the kitchen of Goodfellas. Hey, we're back in the kitchen of Goodfellas today with Mike Blewett, Director of Operations for Madison's and Goodfellas, and we're going to prepare that wonderful New York strip steak on our grill with the fresh ingredients that we talked about earlier.
When cooking steak, like I said, you want to bring it up to room temperature before you place it on the grill. And as far as picking out your steak, we're using a New York strip. But if you like it a little leaner, you can use filet. If you look tight in the wallet, you can use, a sirloin. That's not as fatty. But the most important part, if you want a juicy steak, is to find a steak that has a high marble content. And what that's going to be is the white lines that are running through the steak are the fats in the steak, and you don't want those to be concentrated on one area or the other. You want it kind of evenly distributed across the steak. Let's see. And also, you probably want to make sure that you're not cooking too high, but you want a good high temperature on it. You want to sear the outside of it, locking those juices in. You don't want them to run off on the steak. And I'm also going to be making a marsala sauce as well. I'm going to go ahead and get that started.
Making a marsala at home is very simple. You can take a nice cream base, butter base with some mushrooms, of course some marsala wine. If you want to do a non-alcoholic marsala wine too, there's options for you that you can provide for your family at home. It's also important that when you're preparing these meals to remember with meats, particularly you want to let the meat rest after it comes off the grill. And if you're preparing any kind of a pork dish, it's very important for you to start with a cold platter or a cold grill and bring it up to temp, because the proteins in pork actually react very differently than they do in beef. So the way that you get a nice juicy pork chop at home is to start off with a cold skillet or a cold grill and bring it up to temp from that. That's one of the little tricks that we do here at Goodfellas. And when we return, we're going to go ahead and plate that up and present that dish and show you a couple little tricks to make your meal at home look like a restaurant-style meal. So we have the final product, our New York strip steak prepared by Mike Blewett in the kitchen at Goodfellas with a very basic marsala sauce with the mushrooms, the cream base, of course, and the marsala wine. Michael?
Like I stated earlier, you want to make sure you find that steak with the marbling content that's going to make you happy. If you like a juicier steak, you want to find one with the white marbling line going all the way through it, but not all collected in one area, but spread throughout the steak. And also, if you want a more lean piece of meat, you use a sirloin. If you want a fattier piece of meat, you use a ribeye. Ribeye is my personal favorite. Lots of flavor in that fat. And also add a little roasted garlic for a little extra touch. And
things like that will allow you to plate the dish more like a restaurant presentation, kind of class things up. Also substituting that marsala sauce on top of a baked potato will give you another option for a nice Sunday family meal. If you'd like to try it out, we invite you to stop by Goodfellas, and we thank you for watching Sunday's Kind of Country.